Have you ever imagined that behind the bright lights of the King of Queens was a calm, peaceful life for its cast? The reality might surprise you. Behind the joyful laughter and humorous moments on screen lies a world full of challenges, where the actors faced deep personal struggles from the quiet torment of addiction to exhaustion so severe it led to hospitalization, to broken marriages and heartbreaking losses that never truly healed. Life behind the camera isn't as glamorous as people often think. It's filled with hidden struggles and untold stories that few ever see. Have you heard about these truths before? If yes, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 so I know. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep uncovering the untold stories behind the stars you've always loved. Jerry Stiller, born Gerald Isaac Stiller on June 8, 1927 in New York, was already 71 years old when he took on the role of Arthur Spooner in The King of Queens, playing the character from 1998 to 2007. Arthur was portrayed as an eccentric, hot-tempered father who, beneath it all, had a deep love for his daughter, Carrie. But behind the laughter and the comedic timing, Jerry's real life carried a quiet sadness. He spent many years struggling to hold together a family that always seemed on the edge of falling apart. Jerry's marriage to Anne, his wife and longtime performing partner of over 60 years, went through its fair share of turbulence. In particular, during the early 1980s, when both of their careers were in decline, they faced harsh criticism, canceled contracts, and a noticeable shift in public support. Jerry once admitted that there was a time when he felt hopeless, terrified, that he might lose the only woman who ever made him feel truly worthy. Still, they held tightly to each other and chose to start over, driven by love and the fear of losing the one person who had walked beside them through life's hardest moments. Luck finally found its way back to them when Jerry rose to fame once again with Seinfeld and later with The King of Queens. But real life is rarely forgiving. In 2015, Anne Meara passed away, leaving Jerry with a deep and lasting loneliness that no spotlight could ever heal. In his final years, Jerry leaned on the love and support of his son, Ben Stiller, and took on a few small roles in films like Zoolander, perhaps as a way to fill the emotional void left behind. But his health had declined significantly, and his heart had already been broken by the loss of the lifelong partner he had cherished. Jerry Stiller passed away on May 11, 2020, at the age of 92, closing the chapter on a life marked by both triumph and quiet sorrow. His estate was estimated to be worth around $14 million, including an apartment on the Upper West Side and a collection of classic cars. This was the result of a lifetime of saving sacrifice and resilience through countless challenges. Jerry Stiller remains an unforgettable icon of American comedy. Anne Meara, born on September 20, 1929 in Brooklyn, joined The King of Queens in 1999 at the age of 70, playing Veronica Olin, the strong yet sensitive mother of Spence, who later becomes Arthur Spooner's wife in the final seasons of the series. Few people know that behind the spotlight, Anne's life was also filled with quiet losses and unspoken pain. At just 11 years old, Anne faced a devastating shock when her mother took her own life, a haunting memory that shadowed her childhood and left her feeling isolated for many years. After marrying Jerry Stiller in 1954, Anne also struggled with depression and alcoholism, especially during the early years when both their careers were unstable and arguments nearly tore their relationship apart. Although they eventually found success together, Anne still felt overshadowed as Jerry reclaimed the spotlight with Seinfeld and The King of Queens. She continued to pursue her art through acting, writing plays, and taking part in projects like Sex and the City, but inside the sadness of insecurity and the fear of being forgotten always followed her. Anne's health declined rapidly with a series of strokes, and she was eventually moved to the Hebrew Home Nursing Facility, closing a long and exhausting chapter in her pursuit of the spotlight. Despite the care of her family, Anne couldn't hide the deep loneliness inside her, a wound that never fully healed. She passed away on May 23, 2015, at the age of 85, leaving behind an estate valued at around $12 million, mostly tied to the Manhattan apartment she once shared with Jerry. Doris May Roberts, born on November 4, 1925 in Missouri, joined the King of Queens in 1999 at the age of 74, playing the sharp, crafty, yet intelligent mother, Marie Barron. This role made her beloved by fans, alongside her famous portrayal in Everybody Loves Raymond. Doris Roberts is considered an icon of comedy with 5 prestigious Emmy Awards to her name. She captivated audiences with her authentic acting, making viewers both love and occasionally despise her character. However, behind the spotlight, Doris's life was filled with hardship and silent battles. Her father left when she was young, and she grew up in poverty under the care of her single mother. The bitter memories of family struggles led her to take typing jobs to support herself. Her second marriage to writer William Goyen was also unhappy, as he betrayed her, leaving a deep emotional scar. Doris had to push herself to keep everything stable, raising her son while maintaining a career in the entertainment industry, which was obsessed with youth, all while witnessing the loss of close friends, leaving her in quiet loneliness. Although widely recognized, Doris often felt overlooked by Hollywood, especially as she turned 80 and had to face a stroke and pulmonary hypertension, forcing her to fight each day to continue acting. She still frequently appeared on screen in films like Medea's Witness Protection and guest spots on The Middle, affirming that time had not defeated her. Yet inside, Doris quietly struggled with fading fame and a void that was hard to fill. She passed away in her sleep on April 17, 2016, at the age of 90, closing a life full of contradictions between bitterness and love. Doris was laid to rest at Pierce Brothers Westwood Village Memorial Park in Los Angeles, leaving behind an estate estimated at around $14 million, including a luxurious apartment and valuable art collection. Florence Agnes Henderson, born on February 14, 1934 in Indiana, joined the King of Queens in 2000 at the age of 66, playing the role of Lily. Florence had previously captivated audiences with her portrayal of a strong, loving, and optimistic mother. However, her real life was a long series of challenges and pain that few knew about. Her first marriage to Ira Bernstein lasted nearly 30 years before ending, forcing her to raise 4 children on her own, while her career slowly faded. When she entered her second marriage with hypnotherapist John Kappas, she faced even greater pressure as her husband fell seriously ill, leading Florence into a state of depression and a crisis of faith. Her loneliness deepened as she witnessed many of her colleagues pass away. As Hollywood's spotlight grew dimmer, she felt an irreplaceable void. In her later years, Florence continued to make regular appearances on television, such as participating in Dancing with the Stars in 2010 and hosting cooking shows, always with a radiant smile. But behind the scenes, she quietly battled heart disease. Her health gradually declined, and on Thanksgiving Day 2016, she unexpectedly collapsed and passed away at the age of 82, just days after attending a taping to support her co-star Maureen McCormick. Her estate was estimated at around $10 million, including a warm and inviting home in Los Angeles, a testament to her resilience and lifelong passion for the arts. Florence was regarded by millions as America's mom in their hearts. Kirstie Louise Alley, born on January 12, 1951 in Kansas, appeared on The King of Queens in 2006, playing herself at the age of 55. Kirstie was renowned for her talent, sharp wit, and magnetic charm, becoming one of the iconic figures of late 20th century American television. However, behind the spotlight, her life was marked by emotional scars and ongoing tragedies. 2 failed marriages left Kirstie with a deep sense of loneliness. Despite having 2 adopted children by her side, she struggled for many years with weight issues and intense public scrutiny, leading her to lose faith in herself on multiple occasions. In her search for peace, Kirstie turned to the Church of Scientology, but this choice led to her being shunned by many friends due to the controversies surrounding the religion. Despite her fame and wealth, Kirstie often battled with a lack of genuine love and acceptance from those around her. Kirstie made a remarkable comeback with shows like Fat Actress and Dancing with the Stars. However, her health deteriorated significantly, and she was diagnosed with terminal colon cancer just months before her death in December 2022 at the age of 71 in Tampa. The rapid progression of the disease prevented her from saying a final goodbye, leaving her family and colleagues in deep sorrow. Kirstie's estate was estimated at around $40 million, including her luxurious home in Clearwater, expensive cars, and a valuable collection of antiques. William McCord Hurt, born on March 20, 1950, was 52 years old when he appeared on The King of Queens in 2002, playing Dr. Tabor. With his deep voice and penetrating gaze, William Hurt was once considered a Hollywood icon of the 1980s. However, behind his illustrious career lay many bitter shadows and profound pain. William Hurt's personal life was filled with upheaval, including 2 divorces and complicated relationships, leaving him with 4 children and unresolved tensions. Allegations of abuse from Marlee Matlin, along with legal disputes with his former lover Sandra Jennings, cast a dark cloud over his reputation and nearly forced him out of Hollywood. Choosing to retreat from the spotlight, he lived in seclusion in a house in Oregon, spending his final years in loneliness and illness. He fought a long battle with metastatic prostate cancer, enduring both physical and emotional pain from past wounds that had never healed. Although still seen as a star on the outside-inside, he was a wounded soul carrying the weight of feeling abandoned by the entertainment industry that had once elevated him. William Hurt passed away on March 13, 2022, at the age of 71, leaving behind an estate estimated at around $8 million, including a peaceful home in Portland, Oregon. His death marked the end of an extraordinary yet bittersweet artistic journey, a reminder that the glory of the stage cannot heal the silent wounds within the heart of a lonely artist. Gavin MacLeod, born Alan George C. on February 28, 1931, began appearing on The King of Queens in 2001 at the age of 70, portraying the charming and graceful character of Uncle Stu. Few knew that behind his warm smile and calm demeanor, Gavin's life was filled with silent regrets and unspoken pain. He went through several failed marriages, including a bitter divorce from his first wife, and another marriage that also ended in disappointment. All of this occurred before he found faith, which became his final source of comfort. The instability in his relationships left him carrying a lingering sense of loneliness, especially as he aged. Despite having once experienced fame, his greatest fear was being forgotten, a feeling that became more apparent as Hollywood's spotlight faded. In his final years, Gavin lived peacefully in his home in Palm Desert, California, facing declining health. His fame brought him an estate valued at approximately $10 million, but it couldn't fill the emotional void caused by the fading of friendships and love. In the end, he clung to his religious faith as the only source of solace for a soul marked by wounds. Gavin MacLeod passed away on May 29, 2021 at the age of 90, closing the extraordinary journey of a television star whose life was shadowed by loneliness, a reminder that fame cannot heal an empty heart. Sheldon Leonard Berman, born on February 3, 1925 in Chicago, joined the King of Queens in 2003 at the age of 78, playing the role of Skitch, bringing the same humorous charm that made him a beloved figure in the world of modern sitcoms. Berman also left a lasting impression with his portrayal of Larry David's father in Curb Your Enthusiasm, earning an Emmy nomination in 2008. Behind the humor and his successful career were psychological wounds that never healed. His marriage to Sarah Herman lasted over 7 decades, but they endured an unbearable pain when their only son Joshua died from a brain tumor at just 12 years old. This tragedy plunged them into deep grief, weighing on their hearts for the rest of their lives. Berman often admitted the guilt he felt for not being able to protect his son, a haunting ghost in his mind. His career also faced setbacks, the most notable being the 1960 scandal when he was secretly filmed losing his composure behind the scenes, shaking the image of a well-crafted comedic artist. Later, he tried to regain his standing, holding on to television roles to prove he still had value to the audience. His final years became even more difficult as Alzheimer's disease gradually robbed him of his memory, turning a sharp mind into a fading shadow, leaving him in silence and solitude. On September 1, 2017, Shelley Berman passed away at his home in Bell Canyon, California at the age of 92, closing a life filled with turmoil and heartbreaking loss. His estate, estimated at around $2 million, could not fill the emotional void in his heart, especially the loss of his son that haunted him for decades. A comedian who made millions laugh, he quietly left the stage, leaving behind a creative legacy intertwined with profound personal tragedies. Peter Lawrence Boyle, born on October 18, 1935 in Pennsylvania, was 63 years old when he appeared on The King of Queens in 1998, playing the role of Frank Barone, the grumpy yet loving father. This performance helped him become a familiar face to millions of viewers through his iconic role in Everybody Loves Raymond. Behind the spotlight, Peter Boyle's life was filled with unspoken stress. Though he had a strong and devoted marriage to Lorraine Alterman, their relationship faced its own anxieties as he battled heart disease and a recurring multiple myeloma diagnosis, which sometimes left him emotionally overwhelmed. As a devoted father, he was haunted by the fear of leaving his 2 daughters too soon, especially as his health worsened and he could no longer fully commit to his career. In his final years, he tried to hold on to his passion for acting through supporting roles and emotional films. However, his declining health prevented him from maintaining the same strong presence he once had at his career's peak. The fear of death combined with the pressures of his career weighed heavily on Peter Boyle, creating a deep inner sadness that stood in stark contrast to the humorous, strong characters audiences had come to love. Peter Boyle passed away on December 12, 2006, at a hospital in New York at the age of 71. He left behind an estate estimated at $8 million, including the home he shared with his family in the bustling city. His vibrant artistic legacy closed, but it was also overshadowed by illness and worry, a reminder of the fragility of an artist facing life's everyday challenges. Have you heard the real-life story of Peter Boyle before? If so, comment 1. If not, comment 0. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to watch the full video and hit the subscribe button to support the channel. Harold Vernon Goldstein, known professionally as Harold Gould, was born on December 10, 1923. At 77 years old, he appeared on The King of Queens in 2000, playing Irv Glassman, the archetypal grandfather figure, gentle, profound, and warm, much like the roles he portrayed throughout his career in hundreds of productions. Known for his roles in The Golden Girls and Roa, he was beloved by audiences for his elegant and refined style. However, behind the spotlight, he harbored a quiet sense of disappointment, often feeling underrated. Throughout his long career, he was rarely given lead roles, and his artist's heart was repeatedly broken by his yearning to shine more brightly. The pressures of making a living combined with a demanding work schedule caused cracks in his marriage to his wife Leah, although they remained together until the end of his life. In his final years, he was worn down by a long battle with prostate cancer, a disease that gradually weakened him, making it difficult for him to maintain his passion for the stage. He lived in solitude, immersing himself in unpublished memoirs, perhaps searching for meaning in a career that he felt had not been properly recognized. Each role he played left behind a new void, and he wrestled with the question of his true worth after a lifetime of dedication. Harold Gould passed away on September 11, 2010, at the age of 86. He left behind an estate valued at around $1 million, including a small, peaceful home in Woodland Hills. His life ended sadly for a talented artist who spent his career embodying fathers and grandfathers full of love. Images that touched the hearts of many generations, even though his contributions were often overlooked. Peter Thomas Scolari, born on September 12, 1955, was 47 years old when he appeared on The King of Queens in 2002, playing Ron, a sharp, humorous supporting character that reflected the familiar style Scolari had developed from his time on Bosom Buddies and Newhart. Throughout his career, he also left a significant mark in major projects like Girls on HBO, where he won an Emmy for his portrayal of an affectionate yet weary father struggling with the world. Despite standing in the spotlight, Scolari battled with many personal struggles. Growing up in a violent and unstable family with a strict, harsh father and an alcoholic mother, the psychological scars followed him throughout his life, contributing to his struggles with bipolar disorder and substance addiction. Four failed marriages and sometimes distant relationships with his children left him burdened with guilt and helplessness. Although his work was still highly regarded as he entered the later years of his life, he was diagnosed with leukemia, which drained the strength and hope of a man once full of energy and passion. He continued working and stayed dedicated to the arts, but inside he couldn't escape the bitterness of feeling forgotten by Hollywood, never reaching the heights he had once dreamed of. Even outstanding guest roles couldn't fill the void in his soul. Peter Scolari passed away in Manhattan on October 22, 2021, at the age of 66, leaving behind an estate valued at around $2 million, including the modest apartment where he spent his final years. His passing marked an emotional end to a talented artist who carried within him a deep insecurity about his true worth in the harsh and easily forgetful entertainment industry. Edward Joseph Money, born on March 21, 1949, was 53 years old when he appeared as himself in an episode of The King of Queens in 2002. Energetic and beloved by audiences, Eddie Money's powerful rock songs shaped his musical legacy, making him a rock star of the 70s and 80s with over 10 top 40 hits. However, Eddie Money's life off stage was filled with sorrow. Early in his career, he fell into substance abuse, a mistake that nearly cost him his life when he mistakenly took barbiturates, causing partial paralysis in his leg and leaving lifelong complications. Alcohol and cigarettes continued to deteriorate his health, leading to multiple relapses during his attempts to quit. As a father of 5 children, Eddie constantly struggled internally, tormented by lost opportunities and the fading image of his younger self. The final shock came when he underwent heart valve surgery and was later diagnosed with terminal esophageal cancer. Just when it seemed he had found peace with his family after 30 years of marriage and his promise to quit drinking, he was devastated by complications from the surgery. A few weeks later, he passed away at a Los Angeles hospital in 2019 at the age of 70. His estate was estimated at around $20 million, including a home in Los Angeles and a valuable music memorabilia collection, yet none of it could fill the enormous void he left behind. Charlotte Ray Lubotsky, born on April 22, 1926, left an indelible mark on the entertainment industry, with nearly 7 decades of work, known for her witty, charming roles and her ability to expose her warm heart in every performance. However, behind the spotlight, Charlotte carried a series of sorrows that she rarely shared. Her marriage to musician John Strauss ended when he publicly came out as gay, leaving her with the burden of raising the family alone, both emotionally and spiritually. More heartbreakingly, her eldest son was diagnosed with severe autism and epilepsy, a lifelong challenge that drained her both mentally and financially. Despite the fame surrounding her, the pain and family burdens seemed to never leave her, continuing into her final years. Old age brought no peace to Charlotte, as she underwent multiple heart surgeries, received a pacemaker, and was diagnosed with bone cancer at the age of 91. Earlier in 2009, she had triumphed over pancreatic cancer, but her weakened health and exhausted heart eventually gave out, ending her life at the age of 92 in her home in Los Angeles in the summer of 2018. Her estate was estimated at around $4 million, including her longtime home in Los Angeles, now a memory of a television legend. Norma Michaels, born on March 13, 1924, was a graceful television actress who began her career in 1954 and continued to appear on set until the age of 79 in 2004. Dedicated to her craft for over 6 decades, Norma became well known for her role as Josephine in The King of Queens, portraying a warm and humorous elderly woman. Over her 60 years of quiet dedication, Norma won the affection of audiences through her appearances in popular series like Modern Family, Everybody Loves Raymond, and Highway to Heaven. However, offstage, Norma lived in solitude. She never married, had no children, and openly admitted that the stage was the only home she had ever known. Behind the scenes, she carried the sadness of feeling that her career had never been fully recognized, along with a deep fear of being forgotten. This fear drove her to work tirelessly until the end of her life, as a way to compensate for the personal voids in her life, even though her fame never truly exploded as she had dreamed. In her final years, Norma's health deteriorated significantly due to the complications of old age, forcing her to reduce her appearances and gradually step away from her artistic pursuits. To those close to her, Norma was remembered as a strong, dedicated woman devoted to her art. She passed away peacefully in Palm Springs in January 2020 at the age of 95. Her estate was estimated at around $1 million tied to the home, where she spent her final years a cozy space, yet still lacking the presence of a real family. Pamela Kosh, born on October 1, 1928 in England, was an actress best known for her role as Flora in The King of Queens in 2001 at the age of 70. Her television career spanned over 4 decades, with a variety of sharp supporting roles, from strict housekeepers to dignified ladies. Though she never became a major star, Pamela remained a familiar and reliable face on American television. Her marriage was often described as a long-running drama. She married fellow actor Walter Gilmore, but they had no children, and her absolute dedication to the stage gradually created distance between them. Her love for her craft often required her to sacrifice her family life, making Walter feel lonely and envious of the spotlight that seemed to consume her heart. They attempted to repair their relationship, but over time the gap between them grew, and Pamela only found solace in her work, a refuge from the loneliness. Pamela's unwavering commitment to her career, though sometimes at the expense of her family life, caused Walter to feel increasingly isolated watching the stage take over her life. After his death, Pamela suffered profound emotional pain. Age and frailty led her to struggle with dizziness and frequent falls, making daily life more difficult than ever. With no children to care for her, she was forced to hire help to manage basic tasks. Gradually, Pamela faded quietly under the bright lights that Hollywood once shone on her. At night, she was left with the echoes of past performances and old weathered posters on the walls, haunting reminders of a brief but brilliant time in her life. Pamela Kosh passed away peacefully on May 4, 2022, at the age of 93, concluding her long journey in silence and tranquility. She left behind an estate valued at around $1 million, along with a small house in Burbank, filled with theater books and props that had been part of her life for decades. The smiles that once shone brightly on screen have slowly faded with time, leaving behind quiet corners filled with loss and unspoken desires. Is the brilliance of fame truly worth the sacrifices made? What do you think about this? Please share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this video meaningful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to support the channel and help me continue sharing more profound stories.